Aloha, everyone in the house. Welcome to Awaken Your Divine Blueprint. I am Morayana, your host and guide, your spiritual ally on this journey to ascension. How's everybody doing post Lionsgate? If you're here, say hello in the chat. Aloha, Ariel and Andrew. Thank you for being here. I definitely want to just share kind of like post Lionsgate, post full moon, how I'm feeling. And my body's been going through major shifts and major clearings. Yesterday, I went on the yoga mat to actually just do yoga and not do a clearing, which became a massive clearing. I was sitting there and I don't know what was happening, but the Kundalini energy was just like pushing things out of me. I was tearing nonstop. My eyes started tearing water, like my eyes were just water, and pushing air out of my body. It was like, did I just like, when I did the Lionsgate activation, did I just like pull everybody's energy and now I'm clearing it? Normally it doesn't happen that way. I'm not sure what was moving, but I know that a lot of energy was moving. So I know in my body and with like this active Kundalini that I have, it expresses in many ways. And like normally it's, you've seen me in activations when I push air out of my body and tearing and all kinds of like energy purges. So everyone is different. So if you've been purging through feeling your heart, through crying, through feeling energy come up, maybe anger, maybe resentment, maybe joy, you're really happy and then you get crashed into sadness. Like this is really normal because we just triggered all this energy and potency has been opening up energy in our bodies and our cells. Even if you didn't do the activation on Lionsgate, by the way, if you haven't caught it, you can still go to deepintuitivehealing.com and do the replay. It doesn't matter if it's line gates or not. Honestly, you can just do the light language activation and it will still activate your cells and your body and give you this upgrade regardless of the celestial event. Even though the celestial event is a portal, it gives it a push, but it's still very powerful because sound and light language is very powerful. So anyways, going back to purging energy and clearing, when we upgrade, right? When there's an upgrade, and what is an upgrade? An upgrade is when our energy, our codes, our old self is falling away, our old density, old energy is falling away in order for new light, new energy to come in. And it pushes the old out and it lets space in the body for new to come in. You know, a pregnant woman, when she's pregnant, you know, it pushes a baby inside of her and it becomes really uncomfortable for her. And then also when a baby is birthing, it's also very uncomfortable for the baby and for the mother for that new life to come in. And so think about it like a new birth of your new light being an upgrade that came into being right now after this whole portal. And so if you are moving energy, if you are feeling energy that's coming up for you, feelings that are coming up for you, welcome it and kind of just flow with it like a river. Just go with the flow. Even though I was yawning and like had a bunch of water come out of my eyes. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I also felt a lot of sadness and grief. And it wasn't mine. Like, maybe it was mine, but I didn't have a reason to be sad or be in grief or anything like that. But I felt like my heart really, really activated, like this heaviness on my chest. And yeah, just sitting there and being like, okay, this is what we're doing right now. This is the energy that's moving through me right now. So I'm just going to let it tear. I'm going to let it move. I'm going to surrender to what's happening and not trying to make sense of where the sadness is coming from, where the grief is coming from, where the water in my eyes are tearing from, and just trusting that it's not supposed to be in my body anymore and just allow it to move. Now, if you're feeling density, if you're feeling sadness or grief and and your body is not giving you the push that it needs to push it out, get up and shake. Use your voice to move out energy. You can just like shake your body while making sounds, being super ridiculous, just allowing yourself to move the energy through sound and shaking, because the truth is that you don't want to keep it in your body. Whatever is moving through you, whatever is uncomfortable, you want to be making sure that you are moving it out of the body in some shape or form. Go for a run, go dance, move sound. You can write down do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, and then do each tone. and just do it for like minutes long, 5 minutes long. Just keep voicing out voicing out your tones, and you can, if you're, yeah, just use different tones to move out the energy. This is really important for this time right now, because we did just move through a big portal of energy. And I know that I experienced it on my own without, actually, I didn't really expect to. Like, I knew it was a portal, and I knew it was big energy, and I know it's Lionsgate, and I did this activation, and I know all the things. But actually going to my yoga mat and seeing the amount of energy, I was like, okay, here we are. This is happening right now. So let's see who's here. I see Ben. Aloha. Thank you for being here, Cheryl. Automatic tears can be signal from the collective or inner child. Yes, I agree. But the thing is, like, the tears is a kind of a new experience for me. I used to move energy through hissing, which is like the most awkward thing to like hiss energy out, but that's the way it used to express from me. And I did work around not hissing anymore because I didn't like that expression of release. So I was like, can we work in a way where I'm not burping or not doing like aggressive like facial movements? And then tears started coming out. I'm like, okay, tears is much better than hissing, but this last clearing was like both. But the tears are like it's not crying tears. It's actually just water just, moving through my eyes. It is a form of energy. And yeah, that's been like a new experience for me, and another way of transforming energy and transmuting energy. Sasha is here. Andrew saying he's been feeling the move. Daya saying the portal is still open. I'm feeling it still. If you guys are feeling it, let me know. So overall, it's an upgrade, and we need to be grateful for the upgrade. I am very, very grateful. I am feeling amazing today and being super happy to be here with you. And we have a show that's actually, attachment. Let's talk about attachment. I know that attachment for me has been, oh man, isn't that like the journey for everyone? Like, as human beings, like, think about people that collect items. They get really attached to items. My dad has like all these objects that are just quirky that he gets at the flea market, and he gets attached to them. Like, if I try to move it, like, don't move it. Leave it in the same place. So if humans can get attached to objects, imagine like the people and relationships that we get attached to. And how do we get attached to those people? How are we operating from attachment? And this is a big one for me. Like, definitely in relationships, I have like this big heart, and I love to love. And then love is like the most biggest lesson of what love actually looks like. And my favorite analogy, and I've shared this on the show before, my favorite analogy is if we take sand in our hand, go to the beach, and we take and put sand in our hand, we hold it really tight. If you open your hand, there's not going to be much sand left. You've totally just smothered it and just like fell out of your hand. But if you took the sand and left it on your palm, and it would just let it be open like that, the sand would stay. It would just be there, and there would be a lot of it on your hand. So the same thing with love and attachment. And the biggest gurus, and like, this is the spiritual journey of letting go. And if you're attaching to something still, what are you doing? Are you attaching from love? How are you attaching? Is it coming from a place of a need that you need to feel better about yourself? Like, where is it coming from? And there's a book, it's called Attached. And I think I shared it on, I did one of the show about attachment theories. And today it's not going to be about attachment theory, by the way. It's going to be about how we attach to other people, and the means of our divinity, like how we do that. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. And honestly, every time I do these episodes, I'm channeling this information prior. So I'm dissecting this information with you on the show, because spirit does speak through me. I write it, I bring it, and then we talk about it, and I can give you my perspective. And of course, this is the perspective of the now, of what I feel today. And it could be 10 years from now, I'll have a different perspective, but as for now, we're going to translate it together and dive in together into what is written from the divine that has been given to me. Now, if you go to that book, Attached, which is a great book, and if you are struggling with attachment, avoidant or anxious, if you're dating an avoidant, or if you're dating an anxious, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, go look up Attached. It's a great book. And in Attached, they talk about tribes. Attachment, there's a healthy form of attachment, because tribes, when you're attached to your family and you're attached to your siblings and you're attached to your children, that keeps you safe as a community. So I'm not coming on here and saying don't be attached to anyone and that's it. It doesn't work like that. But there are nuance in attachments, layers of attachment that are unhealthy, and they keep us stuck in loops and cycles that are unhealthy. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, if you haven't already, please give a like, subscribe, and share if you feel like this show, this information is valuable to other people. You're welcome to share with them. Commenting on the link below on this episode is always helping me grow my channel. So I'm very grateful. And a thumbs up is just a little click that you can click, and I'll be ever so grateful. All right, so let's get into it. Relational alchemy, right? Relationships are alchemy. We alchemize into another perfect person's alchemy, into their energy and our energy, and then it becomes this alchemy of energies that we are exploring the totality of each person that is meeting each other, because each person has its own totality and what they bring into the relationship, right? So let's talk about the attachment that Spirit told me what we're talking about today. So attachment is releasing attachment to another is not about the love of the other. So let me just make that clear. We're not talking about releasing love and not loving the other, because love is infinite, love is expansive. What we are talking about is the way we perceive one's love to ourself. Like, how is that person loving me as a means of loving ourselves? Meaning translating the way the other person is loving ourselves, loving us, and the way they're loving us, how we define our self-love. So to clarify, if another person is showing us love, like love languages is a great way to talk about, because love languages, I believe, I didn't write this down, but this is coming up for me right now. So there's physical touch. There is words of affirmation. Ben, help me here. I know you know this. Words of affirmation, physical touch, gifts, what is it? Time, spending time together. And what am I missing? Physical touch. There's 5 of them. So physical touch, words of affirmation, spending time, quality time, gifts, and one more. If somebody can make all the 5 of them. Anyway, my point is that we all show love languages in different ways. So let's say one person understands love through material. Let's say a woman wants to receive gifts because that's what she's used to. Maybe she was grown in a wealthy family and her father didn't know how to show love through affection. So she understands love through gifts and through money. And then she meets a man, the completely hot guy. She's totally in love with him, loves him, but he doesn't know how to show love through that. He shows love through quality time, or shows love through acts of service. It's very common for men to show acts of service if they're not in tune. Like a lot of, sometimes acts of service, I know I've dated men that acts of service were the main way they show like love. And if a woman is translating love through money or through gold or through gifts, because that's what she was raised on, then they're going to have a little problem, because she's not going to feel loved by him, right? So here it is. Thanks, Ben. I know I can count on you. Words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. And I think I said all of this. So these are the 5 love languages. And when 2 people are operating on different love languages, they can translate love in a different way, obviously. And when they translate love in a different way, then the other person is measuring the love that they feel inside through the other's person expression. So meaning they're dependent, their value of feeling love is dependent on how the other person is showing up, what they're doing in the dynamic. And that can be really a problem, because we need to learn that love comes from a higher source and not through another person. And also knowing to identify, in connection, these things are important. We do want to understand each other's like love languages, so we can show up in a way where if you didn't know what your person's love language is, you should have that conversation of like, how do you show love? So I know how to show you love and how you experience love, right? Because these things are really nice to have in connection. But what we're aiming to do right now is to understand the higher perspective of love. So when we perceive another's love to ourselves as love for ourselves, it separates us from love of the one holy and true. When I say the one of the one holy and true. It's not religious. It means the higher source of infinite light. When I say the holy one and true, because holiness is purity, and purity is the purity of the light within our body, within our heart, that transmits through our heart, right? It's the chi, it's the mana, it's the prana, it's source energy of creation, okay? Because that is the infinite light that we're here. If we consciously or unconsciously realize it or not realize it, we are here to experience this light through the divine in the highest aspect of love, through the reflections of others, to show us the polarity within each other, to show us the shadows and the light within ourselves, so we can accumulate that wisdom of understanding love, light, shadow, darkness within ourselves, so we can go to a higher aspect of love. There's like these levels, right? So like then there's this 3D density, we're humans and we're having these experiences between humans relating. And when we're having these experiences, it's going to mirror to us where we're not harmonizing with each other, right? Because again, we have a totality of a world on one side, a totality of a world on the other, two beings with backgrounds and past experiences and family dynamics that shaped up who they are until that moment in time. And then when they come meet together, they have to like, oh, everything is lovey-dovey, right? It's kind of like a little trick of the universe. Like, oh, there's all this like desire and attraction and romance and everything is really beautiful. But then the truth comes out, because you can't hide the truth. The blueprint of that person's experience in that life is going to mirror the other person's experiences, and where they harmonize and where they don't. And where they don't harmonize is where the juice comes in to show you who you are, what blueprint you're carrying, what energy you're carrying, what identifies you as love, how you perceive love. Because you perceive love in the way that you were born, the way you were born into. Your caretakers gave you an example, a very narrow example of what love looks like, because they showed you their own narrow world of what their connection looks like. And it's only two people on the planet. There's billions of people on the planet. But imagine all the people of the planet can have a baby. Imagine all of the experiences that can ever happen on this planet as a human being if they were raised in a home as homeless people and then they had a child. Like, just think about the different scenarios. Rich people, maybe they weren't even in tune with their heart, with their feelings, but everything was about money. Like, there could be so many contrast in connection. And then these people meet, and then they have to like see, when they do go beyond the level of attraction and sexuality and that romance, and they connect on those levels of who they truly are and how they value love, that's when the work begins. Two people can decide to yell at each other and lash out on each other and take it out on each other instead of taking accountability. But the idea is to see ourselves through these shadows, to see ourselves through our conditioning. It's a condition that we were raised into. Identify it, see it, and then go inwards instead of going outwards and projecting onto the other. This is the recipe. Easier? Is it easy? Probably not. I can tell you an experience it's not. Does it get easier? Yes. The more you have awareness of yourself, the more you're aware of your wounding, the more you're aware of your audience, of the person that you're relating with, and you understand their conditioning, the more compassion you are able to grow in your heart to another, is where you are going to have compassion to yourself and to the situation that you're in. The more compassion you have for the situation that you're in, the easier it is for your heart to grow into the higher aspects of love and acceptance of what is. Yeah. So the truth source of love, when we perceive another's love to ourselves as love for ourselves, it separates us from love of the one holy and true infinite light of creation. When we perceive ourselves as love from a higher source of love creation, then the love of the other, right? When another person loves us, it becomes a source of joy, bliss, and ecstasy as a gesture of love from a higher form of love, and not because the way you love me defines how I am love or if I am loved. Because I already am love. And if you are already living through a blueprint, I am love, and everything is awesome and joyful and blissful, the other person becomes an absolute gift to your experience, right? It also depends how that other person shows up. And if that person shows up in a reflection to where you are, and if you are in joy, bliss, and ecstasy within your heart, the other person is going to mirror that back to you. It just works that way. And if it's not, if you are already upgrading to that love, bliss, and ecstasy frequency on a natural state high of the divine light, and you get to that state and the other person does not, there will be a period of falling out. That person will fall out, or there will be a period of separation when the energies can balance, or a new person will replace that person to come and show you where you are, because we're always ever growing and expanding. And if source, from what I've learned, when source wants you to upgrade, they will bring a person to reflect to you, because you only can see yourself through the eyes of another, and we're all mirrors for each other. Yeah. So rather than attaching to validation, let's bring that example of the woman that wants something physical. She wants her partner to show something physical, like a gift or gold or earrings, whatever she's used to. And that's, for her, that is validating that she's loved if she receives a gift. And this is just an example. It can be in all of those love languages can be expressed in a different way. Some people need words of affirmation. If someone was absolutely thirsty for love and affection from their caretaking, if their caretakers weren't telling them they're loved and beautiful and all these things, then they might crave those words of affirmation from a relationship, because that will make them feel very loved and safe. So I'm just giving different examples, right? So rather than attaching to validation from another in one of those love languages, for example, to feel love or fill the void of empty love within, we go to the higher source of love creation and give that to ourselves. When we give that to ourselves, it puts us in a blueprint of love, joy, bliss, and ecstasy. All right. So liberation through self-validation. It's important. It's important that we know how to validate ourselves and to know how to love ourselves, because if we understand how to love ourselves, the other person will know how to love ourselves, right? If you don't know how to love yourself, no one's going to know how to love yourself. It's important to understand to be in a loving relationship with yourself, regardless of who is there, if you're alone or not alone, because that is the definition of how you are going to allow someone to love you back. So this holds value to our heart as love within the heart of creation, and holds liberation to self-validation in a higher source of identity within a heart of love of one within self. This is the method of unifying identity between soul and flesh, which is our body and our soul, to the heart of creation, identifying the source of love within the heart of love thyself all. So when we unify our body with the heart of creation, our soul and flesh and everything that we are. So there is a separation between our physical body and our soul. Our soul is infinite light. The body is the I don't know, not the Merkaba, but it's the vehicle. It's the vehicle of the soul. And when we merge all three things together, which is the body, the soul, and the heart of creation, we identify source of love within the heart of love thyself all, which is all parts of us, the shadow, the light, the darkness, everything that we are in this amazing, complex human experience on this earth plane. When we connect, if it was just us and our body and our soul, and we didn't know the light, we didn't understand the light, we weren't connected to a higher aspect of the universal love, it would be really hard. That's the blue pill or the red pill in the matrix, right? It's like being on autopilot with whatever is given to us. It's the difference between being awake and an individual that's still asleep. Is the blue pill. Yeah, it's the blue pill, right? It's the blue pill that you would be asleep, or it's the red pill where you're awake into your divinity and to the whole cosmos and to everything that you are. And so when you start awakening to this truth, the love becomes stronger, the identity with creation becomes stronger, and then self-validation becomes a practice. I'm not saying that sadly, we're not really, maybe as a baby, we are born to love and everything. And until we don't go through this mirroring effect with our family, with our caretakers, with relationships, with school, with all these people that have different levels of consciousness, then we're born to be this baby of love, but then we are conditioned into this experience of the matrix of the different people and the way people perceive life, and what's also been indoctrinated into our consciousness from the matrix, right? And so there comes a point in life where you're either awakening to your truth or you're not. Look at the world. You can see that there's a split of human beings. You can tell when you're talking to someone if someone's awakened to their divinity or they're not. It's very simple. There is no right and wrong. I'm just bringing this to the awareness because like there is a journey that we go through. We're all here on the hero's journey if we realize it or not. And we are the hero in the journey. We are going through these like expansion journeys and experiences, almost like a video game, to another level, to another level, to another level, from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime until we ascend into a higher, maybe probably the ascended masters that are going and they don't come back here. They're in a different conscious dimension. Right? That's the journey that we're here to be on if we recognize it or not. So for example, what is love within another? Attaching to outcome. So when we place fear upon another, so let's say in a relationship and you are afraid, placing the fear upon another when the relationship is going through the heart of expectation. I like when spirit calls it the heart of expectation, like because our heart is what's experiencing the experience. So I find it really interesting that my guides always call it like the heart of expectation. So placing fear upon another, let's say you're in a relationship and you're afraid and you have this, you are in fear of losing the person, of abandonment, whatever fear is coming up for you, which can definitely show up in relationships. Our most vulnerable places come up when we're in relationships. And you can find yourself being afraid of losing somebody or afraid of being cheated on or afraid of whatever your conditioning was that you were born into. Those fears can start to come up, right? And so when you're placing fear on another, you're probably doing this unconsciously or maybe even consciously when the relationship is going through the heart of expectation. So when you're afraid of something, you automatically start expecting the other to do things that will make you feel safe. Because you want to feel safe in a relationship, because if you do this and this and this and this, it'll bring up all my trauma or all my pain and I won't feel safe. So I'm afraid that you're going to do that. So I'll expect you not to. And you might not even voice it out that you're expecting, but it's a subconscious. You know how it happens maybe with women and men, but I remember in a Tantra retreat, the teacher was like, women, if you want a man to do something for you, you know, a lot of women were like, but he should know already. This is dangerous. Oh, but I want him to know that I need that. So she waits for him to guess that she is supposed to do, that he's supposed to guess what she wants. For example, somebody wants flowers on their birthday. Okay. And the man says, what do you want for your birthday? And she's like, oh, I don't want anything. But he asked her, but what do you want for your birthday? And she's like, oh, I don't need anything. I just want your love. And deep down, she wants flowers, but she's not saying it. That's when it gets tricky, right? That's the expectation of another rooted in fear. It could be fear like, oh, I'm afraid that he's not going to want to give it to me, so I'm not going to tell him, but I want him to bring this for me. Like I want the flowers, but I won't say anything. That's when we start being dishonest with ourselves and the people that we love. And it's just a silly example, but this could be an example of many things that happen in relationships. So when we attach to an outcome, so in her head, she's like, oh, she must remember to buy me flowers. So that's attachment to an outcome. That's what she really wishes to happen. And then when it doesn't happen, this holds identity of fear of letting go to the heart of love. So she might be really disappointed and then maybe being afraid to letting go. I don't know if this is a good example for what I'm reading right now, but anyway, creates an attachment to outcome. This holds identity of fear of letting go to the heart of love. So when you have an experience and you're attached to an outcome, like you really want it to go a certain way, you go on a second date with someone or a third date, and the first and second date went really well, and then the third date came along, and you're sure that this is the man of your dreams or the woman of your dreams and this is going to happen, and then it doesn't happen. Some people attach to that. They're like, no, but this is what I'm sure is supposed to happen. But that's from there's a fear of letting go to the heart of love. And what is the heart of love? The heart of the divine that guides you into wherever you're supposed to be. There's always perfection being played out. And so this kind of holds the attachment is connected to a fear of actually letting go, to the divine. Another example, wait, Ben is saying something. When women want men to know already, I think often they really want attunement and for them to remember what they want, so much so that they forget to self-advocate. This does happen. I remember the Tantra teacher, like she was saying that this is very common with feminine. It could be with men also. I don't want to generalize with gender, but it's maybe more attuned to women because women are very emotional and they're very sensitive and they really want the male aspect. This is true. They want the attunement of the man, of the masculine polarity to feel into what they want. But they can't put all that expectation on, because what if he really doesn't know? What if he forgets? Or what if he thought it was something completely different and he didn't buy you flowers, but he took you to a really nice restaurant that he knows that you love. But in your mind, he didn't get me flowers. I don't feel loved. And now I'm upset. And now I'm not talking to him. Or she lashes out in a subconscious behavior that sabotages the relationship in very subtle ways. Right? So this can play out in a million different scenarios. And what I think we should practice as women, as men, as a human species is to really voice out our needs or desires. You know, I think I shared this also on a show that my friend was like, if you didn't have your needs met, you would be dead. Basically, your needs are food, water, shelter, because needs are for survival. Desires, on the other hand, is what you would like to experience in connection. So let's call it desires, right? So if you desire to experience something from your loved one, from your beloved, it's actually a really awesome idea to express. If they're asking you what you want, say what you want. If you want to play a little game, say, well, I want you can let them know that you want them to know what you want instead of being silent about it. And then you can play a game, make it playful. Okay, let's pick 10 things that I'll guess what you want. And you start playing a game, and playfulness is always like the best medicine and connection, right? So there's different ways that you can do it and different ways to bring that truth, but practice normalizing saying what you desire to experience with another person rather than expecting them to guess or to know, because we all work different ways. Our love languages are different, our behaviors are different, and our relational attachment are different. Avoidant, anxious avoidant. There's an episode that I did about it, about releasing attachment and the different attachment theories that we have. And then we connect with each other. And then we have to know how to harmonize with those attachment styles that we have in connection. And knowing to identify what attachment style is actually healthy for you is actually going to really help in connecting. So another example is identifying fear with other love rooted in devotion to the heart of abandonment with another. So what does that actually mean? So when you identify fear, when you're afraid of the other, when there's fear connecting between you and another relationship, in devotion to the heart of abandonment with another, meaning when you are subconsciously devoted to the heart of abandonment. If you've been abandoned over and over again in your lifetime, you are subconsciously devoted to that route of learning how to heal through the abandonment with the other. The cycle will play out more and more. And I like spirit when it says devotion, because your heart naturally devotes to this experience because it's trying to rid free from that experience so it can bring healing and light and expansion, so you won't have to translate love as abandonment or fear of being abandoned. Have you ever gotten into a connection that you were already it went so well, but then you're like, oh my God, what if he leaves me? So many people do this. So many people get into connection and they think about all the things that can go wrong because of all the things that went wrong in the past. And when you're bringing that tonality and frequency and energy into connection, the other person feels it. The universe knows what you're thinking. That frequency is alive and it will bring you that experience. So the best thing that you can do in this situation is work on that abandonment issue on your own time. If you're still in a relationship and you still hold that wound, it doesn't mean you have to leave that person, but work on it. And if it's sabotaging the relationship, take a break, go work on it with the therapist, go work on it with the healer, work on your belief system, work on your confidence. And bring that into connection, the frequency of feeling love within and safety, rather than bringing a repeated fear of abandonment wound with another. Meaning when abandonment with another is creating fear, which I just said, this creates attachment to outcome. And it creates resistance to letting go out of fear. You don't want to let go because you want to prove to yourself that you're not abandoned, that you are loved by the person staying, or whatever it is that you're translating. If you're chosen, or if he chooses to stay, that's how you're translating love. And then the opposite is true. Like if your fear of letting go as a means of protection of self-abandonment. So the idea is going into connection and learning to let go every moment. That every moment is a gift, leaving the past behind. You can't bring the past into the present. That just doesn't work. When you bring all of your fears and all of your wounding and all the fear of abandonment into connection, and that starts to play out in the relationship, it's going to be very difficult to love each other because so much triggers are going to come up left and right. If that little, especially abandonment is a huge one for the collective consciousness in general. Like even being birthed from a mother and being separated from mother, or the mother, in hospitals, they take the baby and they put him away from the mother and they put him in a different room. And I know a person that was in a room for about 2 to 3 weeks after the baby, and he was separated from the mother for 3 weeks. Subconsciously, that creates a fear of abandonment because he's not in the nurturing natural state to be with the mother, feeding being fed by the mother, being breastfed by the mother, all these things to create a separation of abandonment. This is a collective energy that is alive. And I believe that we all need to put love into the abandonment wound and learn how to self-regulate, that we feel loved and adored and taken care of and seen by creation and the divine itself. Yeah. Self-abandonment is never the heart of love thyself with another, as self-abandonment is everlasting grief of love thyself none. So when you have a hard time with yourself and you're grieving because you don't feel loved, you need someone else to be in your life in order to feel loved. You don't feel loved if you're not with this other person. Then you're always in the state of grieving. Oh my God, they didn't do this, so I don't feel loved. They didn't do this, so I don't feel loved. And you're always grieving this, like not being met, not being met, not being met, because you're not being met with what you perceive love is through your own conditioning and your own experience and all this. So how do we practice bringing a higher aspect of love into our life? Okay. Practice number 1, releasing expectation of others completely. Can you release expectation of another completely? Drop off the planet of the earth. No expectation. Can you? How does that feel in your body right now? When I say release expectation of another completely, how does that feel in your body? Do you feel resistance? Are you hating on me right now silently? Are you triggered? Is that even possible for you to think like that? Like, because we're always expecting things from others. He didn't do this. It's always like a little game of give and take. He did this. She didn't do this. Oh, she did this. Okay, I'll do that. I'm going to do this, but he didn't do that. So I'm going to do this. He didn't show this. So I'm going to do this. So what if we dropped completely the game, the expectation, and just loved love for what it is? No one is in the heart of possession. It's hard for married people, I bet. Like, right? Because you're actually in the act of marriage. You're actually saying, I am yours and you are mine forever. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm not trying to wrong marriage, and I'm not trying to wrong love and connection. But what is love? Is love possession or is love freedom? Remember the sand that I talked about? If we really hold something that tight, is there going to be any of that person left if you smothered that person so much that they cannot breathe? Okay, I want to say Andrew said something about the umbilical cord that I want to read. I just read today that the umbilical cord continues to pump blood and nutrients for up to 30 minutes after birth. Immediate cutting causes emotional damage. I'm actually going to tell you something that I've learned from this woman, and I'll get back to what I was just saying in the practice for just one moment, because this is important. This is information that's really valuable. I recently got initiated into telekinesis. True story. I can move objects off my hand. I'll maybe show you one day. But this woman was sharing with me that when a baby is born, the umbilical cord, am I saying it right? Umbilical cord? Umbilical cord. The umbilical cord should not be touched at all. What's supposed to happen is the baby is supposed to come out of the vagina, out of the yoni, and climb naturally. If you don't touch the baby is going to find its way to go to nurse, right? To go and nurse from the mother. And the umbilical cord is supposed to be connected still while she's feeding the baby. When the umbilical cord will be cut, when it will fall off naturally, what happens in this experience is that the baby gets all of his spiritual gifts automatically, meaning kundalini, chi, mana, prana, all of the gifts that the universe has for us is automatically given to the baby. Let that sink in. That's what this woman's theory. I'm not a scientist and I don't know, but you're welcome to do home births and try and see what happens. But that's the information that was given to me. So telekinesis and all these other gifts and spiritual psychic abilities would come naturally to the baby and would grow that way naturally. Now, we do have experiences where we wake up to this divinity later in life. I'm living proof of it. But what if we could have eliminated all of that and just be born that way? What a world would we be living in then, right? So there's a lot of just when I know these things and hear about these things and see what's happening in the matrix and what we're born into and how we're born into, it's pretty crazy how we are. Our birthrights are taken away from us. It's just mind crazy. Okay, let's go back to our practices. Andrew, thank you for saying that. And Ben said another thing here. And one day I'm going to get Ben on the show because Ben is a good friend of mine. If you don't know Ben, I'm going to talk about you. He's a good friend. And Ben is, I see him as a very wonderful man that makes a lot of, he sits down quite like me, where we share a lot of codes in a way where we sit a lot with ourselves and write down about connecting and relating and how to relate in the new earth. And he is the masculine identity. Like I see him and his thoughts as a masculine, very valid and valuable because I come from a feminine perspective, also pulling from the divine perspective. Like all this work, I really do channel it and it comes from a higher place. And I share this with you. And Ben is he has been relating for, I don't know, a few years now. And lots of wisdom is coming out of that. And he shares it with me. And I think there's a lot of, gems that we share between us. So one day I'm going to bring him on the show and talk and have him share his perspective because I really do appreciate his masculine perspective. Okay. So it's about meeting ourselves so deeply that love is no longer a transaction, right? Because everything is a transaction and there is a thing of reciprocity. And honestly, when I think about it like this, it's about meeting ourselves so deeply that love is no longer a transaction. When you need something from someone, when it comes in need, I need this from you. I need this from you. No one's going to want to give you anything. If you don't do this, I'm going to get angry. Who's going to want to give you anything? Because there's a need. Love comes from a place of unattachment. When you are unattached to what love is, if you want to give me and well, let me take the word give back. You want to share with me whatever magic you have, I'm open and I'm unattached. That leaves breathing space. That leaves love, because love is breathing. Love is allowing. Love is kind. Love is generous. Love is you can't like light is right now projecting on my face from this ring light that I have here. I can't catch the light. Can I catch it? It's infinite. Like I can't I can't catch it. Light, you can't catch it. So is love. You can't grip it because it's just free. It's infinite. It's cosmic. It's universal. And in relationships, when we're really relating deeply with another person, when the man and a woman shows up, if they are honoring their polarity, and what do I mean by that? I one time went to a rabbi, and the rabbi told me, if you want to know if a man is for you, measure it on how much he gives you. And what he meant by that is the masculine innate not identity, the masculine innate blueprint, the way he's designed is to penetrate, is to give, is to move forward in the doing. He's the plus. He is doing, he's going, he's getting it. And he's going to give you, if he is interested in a connection, he's going to want to give and do and be there for you because he goes outwardly, right? The feminine, she's the receptive, she's the receiver. She doesn't do anything. She is, think about Cinderella, think about all those Disney characters where they just sit and sing with the birds, and she waits for the Prince Charming to come, and all she has to do is comb her hair and be pretty. And that's a good analogy. I'm not saying that's what you need to do, but that's a good analogy for the feminine to be in a receptive state. And when each one honors their polarity, right, you'll know. The feminine doesn't have to ask for what she needs. She just radiates that magnetism. And I mean, and okay, I take that back. She does, if she wants something, she should say what she wants to desire to experience when there's a safety and there's a connection and you're already in your union and everything is good, right? But if you want to measure if something is right for you in the relationship, check the polarity, check what your masculine, how your masculinity is showing up. Check how your femininity is showing up, because it takes two to tango, and it takes two to be in a polarized, healthy connection, because we are masculine and feminine. We are different from each other. Our bodies are different. And I'm not talking about gender right now, because there can be different genders that are having like a male body that has a more feminine energy. We're talking about polarity right now. Even if two men are together right now, there's going to be one that's more feminine, more masculine. So we're just talking about the blueprint or the energies of masculine polarity and feminine polarity, right? So it's not, try to take the body out of this right now, even though you can see it in the visual, like of a body. You can definitely see the visual when there's a woman and a man standing next to each other. Yeah, so just identifying when we are in our polarity, it'll be, and we're all filling the role of understanding what our polarity is supposed to be in the role in the connection. And between two people, it'll be a lot easier to dance together because each role is playing out their frequency that makes the union harmonized. Just something that a rabbi shared with me, and actually gave me a lot of wisdom around that, because like I feel like my innate and just being vulnerable, like in Israel growing up there, going to the military, always being in this like kind of masculine energy of like being protective, all women go to the military there. That's already being in your masculine energy, like going, carrying a gun, trying to protect something. That's a masculine trait, to be a protector. Right. So that's something that I feel like in the collective consciousness in Israel, a lot of women deal with being in their masculine more than their feminine, just because of the environment. And that's something that I had to learn how to soften, to be in my receptive state, to be in my feminine. And also like having a business here, I found some kind of like a good combination here. I'm a YouTuber. There's a lot of work that goes into it, but I'm channeling source, using my intuition to bring that information. And intuition is a very feminine trait. So there's a good dance that's happening and being and like connecting to the divine and then sharing, but also harmonizing with the masculine energy that is in the doing and the showing. Anyway, I think you understand what I mean. All right. So practice number 2. So practice number 1 was releasing expectation from one person completely and learning that we don't possess anyone. Each person has their own free will to their heart of love thyself, meaning they are their own, they have their own autonomy, and they are their own individual, and they have their own heart that they are experiencing with love thyself all, of their own love thyself all, which meaning their own world. Okay. Practice number 2, release the need to understand another person's motivation with them in themselves, and heal the attachment that you have to understand why that person is doing what they're doing. And instead of attaching to the understanding of why the person is doing what they're doing, focus on your inner love, your inner peace, and inner glow, and your joy. Easier said than done, but that's the way. We don't need to know why the other person did what they do. They did it because of everything that they were and were conditioned to do in their life. And it's not up to us to understand why. We love as love is accepting, love is understanding, love is forgiving, love is also loving ourselves and giving compassionate to ourselves and knowing that the divine has got our back. And if it happened, if whatever happened, happened, it's for the highest good of all, for us to learn and expand and grow within that experience to the next level of consciousness or the next lesson that you are here to experience on this earth plane. It's like a video game. You reach the next level. So it doesn't matter why that happened or why that person did what it did. You accept. Someone cheated on you, you accept it. Someone hurt you, you accept it. You let it go. You move on to the next thing. You don't have to understand the why. The why is because the divine decided that that's what you need to go through and put love into there. Love it. Love the experience, even if it's painful, because that experience is your growth, your evolution, your ascension, your evolution to conscious love. And conscious love is really that expression of the sand on your hand that you're not gripping and you're not possessing. And when we get to that place where we can really love another without needing to grasp to hold to hold it really tight, then we are getting the point of what love truly is. The greater understanding that each person is living through their own journey to heal and expand on their own identity with creation. Consciously or unconsciously, we're all on a hero's journey. We're all here in this meat suit, in this earth plane, in this third dimensional density, upgrading into fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth dimensional consciousness, right? As we grow, as we go through the levels of the hero's journey, we may experience higher experience of consciousness. That's what we're all here doing and talking about it, right? We're talking about these experiences of evolving into higher states of consciousness. Higher states of consciousness is higher states of love. And higher states of love is letting go of, oh, this is mine. You do this, I do this. And being in a more loving, open flow of letting the non-resistance to experience the love with flow. Allowing that to be the understanding of each individual on the planet. We're all on a hero's journey. We're all here to commune with the divine, with the higher aspects of love. And so within that knowing, we can love all the shadows and the light and the experiences that are thrown at us or given to us to experience or just shown up in our life. Oh, one day I'm with this person, one day I'm not. Wow, that happened really fast. Oh my God, am I going to love this experience? Am I going to hate this experience? Or am I just going to observe this experience and allow this experience to move into what the next upgrade or the next experience is in our life that shows us where we need to go? Freedom in love. So allowing this freedom and this acceptance and this path of non-resistance heals the identity between attaching to another for a means of love and allows the love within another to rise as devotion to pleasure of love within. Right? So when we are not attaching to another for him or her to show me love because I need this from this person to feel good. If they don't do that, I don't feel good. Wah. If they're not doing this, I'm going to cry. I don't feel loved. Oh no. So if we detach from that, like, oh, they did this, so I don't feel loved, so I'm going to feel like I'm not going to have a good day. And allowing the love within another to rise as a devotion to pleasure of self-love within. So whatever we're experiencing, we bring that back to self into a practice of self-pleasure, the divine, the love that we experience with the higher aspects of ourselves. When the love within ourselves, that becomes our pleasure. Wouldn't that be awesome if everybody was just like vibing off source pleasure, just like being so happy and radiant, and so we would all feel really good, and if we all feel really good, then we all feel like we have amazing experiences together, and then we don't have to like expect somebody to make us feel good. Isn't that ridiculous? Like, really, if you think about it, it's almost like the biggest scam in the universe. Like, we need each other to make each other happy. But we should really learn. I don't like the word should. I cancel should. We could put our focus and our love into ourselves and make make an identity. I don't know. Okay, I'm choosing the words kind of funky right now. And practice and learn. I like the word learn. And learn to give ourselves the love, the attention, the support that we need from another person, and learn to give it first to ourselves, that we feel so blissfully in love with ourselves and creation and the earth that we are radiant beings walking the planet and magnetizing that frequency into our vortex within ourselves. That's the idea. Okay. Heal the relationship with another by forcing another. Sometimes we have this unconscious need to heal something within ourselves, right? So we're forcing another to do something so we can heal, so we can feel good. But that's no longer that's no longer, 1 second, I'm going to read this. Heal the relationship with another by forcing another, no longer, as force is none and no more love of self. Force is not love, basically. We cannot force anyone else to do something in order for us to feel love. Any kind of forceful energy should be cleared of any connection, because it's just not love. That's the opposite of love. Forcing is the ego. When we want something, we need something, we're trying to create something out of force. It's just not, that's not love, and it won't last. And the other person is going to resist. There's going to be a consequence to that force. If it's forced by pushing your ideas on someone, if it's forced by physical force, if it's forcing your way through protesting love, or any kind of force of negative emotions or negative expression by trying to manipulate the other person to do what you want in any kind of way. The manipulation can happen in many ways. That is not love. And that won't translate to freedom in love. And only freedom in love will maintain love. Love of self is expanding freedom of joy, bliss, and ecstasy. And this holds value to truth of love within. Ben is saying effort as sacrifice costs you yourself. Effort as devotion expresses yourself. I love that. Effort as devotion. When you're devoted to effortlessly expressing your truth, that basically is your freedom of love. To be devoted to your truth, be devoted to your own self-expression. As long as it's not hurting other people. And we're going to get to that in a minute, because like, if you're in a relationship right now and I'm like, what do you mean freedom? We're in a relationship, and like, there's always give and take in relationships, right? But there's agreements. And so we're going to get into that in just now. So what happens to committed relationships? Okay. In committed relationships, right now you're in a committed relationship, you're in a marriage, there's agreements, because you can't really, like, freedom is, how do we get them? Me and Ben had this conversation the other. How can we maintain freedom in a relationship where we feel safe, where we feel that our desires are being met, and even needs? Because sometimes people have needs in their survival. They're coming from a place of a wound. So if they don't have that in a relationship, it can be like, feel like survival in them. So what happens in a committed relationship? In a committed partnership, there are clear agreements between partners, and they have to be crystal clear, especially if you're in an open relationship. That can, oh my God, this is why for me personally, open relationships don't work. Some people love it and thrive on it, but if you are open relating, there needs to be like a Bible between both of you of what is allowed, what is not allowed, what can you do, what can you not do, crystal clear agreements. Right. And then in that container, these agreements define the energy of the heart of love. One or the other agrees to free themselves within the relationship in the ways they need to feel validated in their needs and desire in love. If you can express what you need in order to feel free in the container that you are creating with another person, and the other person truly, truly understands your needs and really gives that to you, that space for you to be who you are, then you've mastered a really healthy relationship. Because if you have the empathy and the compassion to your partner and can really understand what they need in order to feel good and safe, like if one person needs to flirt, but they don't really want, I don't know, they just need a flirt, whatever. They're just really loving and kind and they don't want to feel contracted in their sensuality with other people, but they're not interested to be sexual with anybody else. For example, and if the other person can't actually handle that, they need to have a really deep check-in, because one person's truth is contradicting the other person's truth, and that's a matter of compatibility. Because compatibility is super important, right? Like if one person needs that self-sensual expression with other people and the other person cannot handle it because it touches a wound from their childhood, for example, they're either going to do a lot of work to get to a point where they meet each other and it's okay and they find their own special agreement, or they're going to have to kindly go like separate ways because they're just not vibing on the same compatible expression. And that matters. It matters. It matters. It matters. It matters. Compatibility is the most important thing between two people, right? So the agreements define the energy of the heart of love. One or the other agrees to free themselves within the relationship in a certain specific aspect in the ways they need to feel validated in their needs and desires in love. One or the other fulfills these needs with truth, honesty. Honesty is so important, and devotion to the higher love of love thyself all, of who they are and what they're bringing into the connection. When one or the other witnesses the other in devotion, this is what Ben was saying, to their heart's desires with clear understanding between them, this holds the freedom of self, autonomy in the container of the relationship and allows freedom. I'm getting chills from head to toe. And allows freedom to hold value within the definition of love thyself all, meaning you can be free in a connection. You can hold your autonomy with absolute clear agreements between two people, with the understanding that we all have our autonomy. We're all made differently and we love each other, but it has to be in truth. Without truth and honesty, it's not going to work. I'm already letting you know that if there's no honesty and truth and connection, it's probably not meant to last, because without truth, you got nothing in connection. Truth holds it all. Like if you are telling a woman I can be only with you, and then you're going behind her back and being with many women, but then telling her, oh, our agreements are this and this and this, but you're not owning up to those agreements, you got nothing to do with that person. That person literally cannot meet you with who you are. Like, how are you going to believe this person like for the rest of the connection? There's almost nothing to build upon if there isn't truth. So all this is being said with truth and honesty. If you can bring honesty into connection and be honest with what you desire to experience or what you need in order to feel your autonomy. I love my freedom. Like for me, Morayana needs her freedom. I'm used to being on my own and being happy. If I am falling in love with another person and another person comes into my life, I want to experience that other person fully while having my own time to self-regulate, to do my spiritual practice. Like I know that that's really important to me. What's important for you? Like find out what that important need is for your autonomy, to know that what you need to experience in your connection, sexually, physically, mentally, emotionally. Make a list. And that will give you clarity on how to tell another person, how to share with another person on how you need to be loved and how you need to maintain your own autonomy and connection. So release attachment activation coming up on Friday. Is it Friday that we're doing it? Let me look. Yeah, I'm doing it Friday. What is Friday? The 15th? I'm going to check real quick. We're doing an activation on the 15th on Friday, 6 p.m. EST. We are going to be working on healing abandonment between ourselves and loving another. That's huge, that we don't abandon ourselves for another person, that we're not afraid of abandonment of another person. Shifting from fear-based love to truth and devotional-based love. So important, right? Everything that we talked about, we want to work on those things. And we're going to have this opportunity to go deep into that. It's about releasing the expectations, attachments, and beliefs that bind love to fear and allowing love to become a true expression of freedom of choice. Freedom of choice. Oh, that's just like, sorry, orgasms to my ear. Free expression of freedom of choice, that you have your freedom to choose and liberation of communion with the divine, meaning that you are so connected to your own divinity that freedom of choice becomes your freedom and connection, becomes your freedom with another person, because you choose to commit, you choose to love, you choose to share your time, you choose to share your energy, your words, your expression, your touch, your love, your love languages with another person, as your communion with the divine, as your inner love within self becomes so strong that that becomes a gift for another person, and it comes an act of choice to do that with another person, and not as I need to. It's a force that I need to do. I need to perform in this love. It's not a performance, it's a choice. And we don't have to commit to somebody forever if we don't want to. We want to be there because love is a beautiful thing to share. And if the other person is sharing love with you, then the other person is happy to share their heart with you, because it comes from a place of joy and bliss and ecstasy, from a natural high state of communion with the divine. Ben has a lot of history with agreements, and he creates agreements that are very, very, very specific. And so he's saying that I think the best relationship agreements are about how to navigate and communicate our freedom of choice, sovereignty, and security. And also how we navigate and communicate, like how do we express what we need, right? There's also a way of how we, like, are you sharing it in anger? Are you coming out of a place of like, I need you to do this and this and this and this and this and this, and these are my agreements? Or are you saying, hey, I love you so much, this is what I need? Like, how are you communicating? What's your tone of voice? What are your choice of words? How did you write it? Like, right, Ben, correct me if I'm wrong. There's also like in a how do we express our sovereignty? How do we express our what we desire and what we need in order for us to feel that autonomy? It's also not, it's not in the what we need to do, but also in the how. Okay, so this activation is about releasing expectations, attachments, and beliefs that bind love to fear, also fear to abandonment, and allowing love to become a true expression of freedom of choice and liberation of communion with the divine. Love, and Ben is saying, yes, what is control? What is control? How is care? Oh, what is control and how is care? Okay, I get it. How is care? I love that. What we say. Oh, I get what you're saying. So what if what we're saying, it could be like a controlling thing, da, 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 but how we are saying what we want, or what we expect, what we like to desire, what we want, what we desire to experience from another person is the care, because we want to also doing in a caring, loving way. So the activation, who is this activation for? Like if you're like curious, this information is resonating with you, but you're not sure. So it's those of you who felt the fear of losing someone they love, out of fear. Like if you're afraid of losing, you're in a connection, you're afraid, you're maybe in a constant fear state of like, oh my God, the littlest thing, and I'm afraid always to lose this person. People who notice they attach to their sense of worth or safety from their partner's love. If what their partner is doing and showing, that's how they feel loved, but they don't feel loved if that person is not there. This is for you. Anyone who has experienced abandonment in relationships and wants to trust love again, and leave the past behind, leave that abandonment wound behind, because that, I mean, there's a lot of work to be done around abandonment, but this is definitely going to touch a lot of our subconscious beliefs around the abandonment in relationships in our past and fear of abandonment. Individuals seeking stability, protection, and liberation and love with self and others. We first bring that stability within ourselves. Once we are in stability within ourselves, we are all going to feel a lot safer and protected by the divine, and liberate, and more liberation and love with self and others, as your identity is in stable love within. And the benefits of the activation is to heal the identity between soul and flesh. That's what spirit calls it, but it's basically ourselves as it relates to attachment and love. Bring stability to the heart of love thyself all, which is our everything. It's our shadow, it's our light, it's everything that we are, and bring stability to all aspects of who we are in the now. Protect the heart of love thyself all from fear-based patterns, and release expectations as a form of self-protection. A lot of people want and expect things in order for them to feel safe. But what we really want to experience is to feel safe within our hearts of love, that we're so stable love and stable union within self, that we don't need and expect anything from no one else. What you can expect, though, is the agreements, because if you made agreements, those agreements are valued in truth. They should be valued and honored in truth. And those are the things that you can expect because they were talked over, right? Those expectations are healthy, but don't expect things that are just things that are running through your own shadow wounding of what you think that's supposed to happen, or your own fantasy of what's supposed to happen, right? Clear limiting beliefs from past partnerships that brought you into these states of cycles with wounding or expectations or attaching to outcome. Liberate self-love within another in a form of attachment that is toxic and unhealthy, and creating freedom and love within your heart. So Relational Alchemy, it's happening on Friday, August 15, 6 p.m. EST. I got a sale going on, early bird price for $33. That's going on for the next 24 hours. Please take advantage of that. Then it goes back to $44. We are meeting in just a couple of days. I know that there's been a lot of activations. We did Lionsgate. We had an activation before that. And we also have a money activation coming up the following week. I'm also going to pull that up. We have a 10-day series going into money activation, August 22nd to 31st. It's not out on my website yet, but mark your date if you are attracted to this subject, because I've never done a money activation before. I've done activations around abundance. Money is the focus. There will be also a focus. I think I'm going to do one activation in that series for crypto, because we are also in New Earth and we want to have other ways of bringing money in. Digital money is a very, very popular, becoming a lot more popular, and plus giving us a lot more opportunity to bring in income. And so mark your calendars, August 22nd to 31st. And also I'm doing a detox for fall, September 7th to 21st. It's a 15-day detox, super amazing. I did it in the spring and it was incredible. So also not on the website quite yet, but you are welcome to sign up or just mark your dates for now. What's available on the website is Relational Alchemy. This Friday, August 15th, we got a very tight schedule with activations. Please sign up to the ones that feel resonant with you. If you are experiencing financial difficulty, message me, email me, contact@deepintuitivehealing.com. No one will be left alone from this activation. If you want to participate and finances are tight right now, message me, email me. I want you in the activation. This is important that we do this together. Hi, Brenda. We have a Brenda in the house. Good evening, Morayana. So nice to be here. Thank you for all your sharing. Hi to everyone. Have a great week. Brenda, is this your first time you're here? Because I have not seen your name before. Thank you for sharing your presence on the chat. I always like seeing new names. So wonderful. All right. We have made it. Oh, two more things. One more thing here. If you want to work one-on-one with me, because I am amazing at what I do. And I really am. If you want to work on your belief system, if you want to bring healing to some patterns, please book a one-on-one session with me. There's many different things that you can choose from. Go to deepintuitivehealing.com. I'll also pull that up, and go to the one-on-one private sessions on the main page. Let me just pull up my website. Here we go. On the main page, you have Relational Alchemy. It's on the front page. You cannot miss it. You just go and you sign up here. If you want to work one-on-one, scroll down, and private sessions are right here. And if you just click on that, it will take you to a bunch of different options that you have going on here. If you're not sure where to start, you can book a discovery call with me, or you can go straight to the full body 42 chakra point energy scan, and I scan for entities, and also I read out of 42 chakra points in the body, and I can see where the imbalances are. And once I see those imbalances, I can put you on a program that will release those blockages out of your body and open your chi, mana, prana, so your body will start working effortlessly for you in a very harmonious way. All right. We have made it to the end of the episode. Thank you so much for choosing your Tuesday to be with me here, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much. So much aloha from Hawaii. This is where I'm at on the Big Island. I am Morayana, your host and guide, your ascension friend here on this journey with you. Thank you for being here. I love you so much. Blessings to your journey, blessings to your body, blessings to your soul. You are seen and loved from all the universe and beyond. Thank you so much. I love you so, so much. And see you on Friday, the 15th, for our amazing activation coming up just so soon. Thank you so much. Mahalo. Thank you. Yay.